Well, jeepers! You're listening to Smash or Pass.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review on the JayBee and Milly channel. This is Smash or Pass review of Scooby Doo, Where Are You in the Backstage Rage. So, very, very classic and interesting episode. And joining forces with us to review this one is, of course, Milly.
Hello.
We have Rhianna. What was that? Was that a cough?
Yeah, I was choking on my drink.
Oh no gosh, I'm so sorry.
If it's any consolation, I thought you were introducing yourself as Smash. You went, this is Smash!
I thought it was like this thing, like, we have Rhianna.
I'm
And
so sorry.
finally, we have the Lunar host, aka Smash.
Bro.
So, Backstage Rage, nothing like a bit of backstage action. What do you think about this? Oh wait, no, plot summary. Plot summary. I'm jumping the gun. I'm jumping the James gun. Plot summary, please, from Rhianna.
Okay, I'm going to do this whilst monitoring. So what made me choke on the drink was the fact that there's a spider that's quite big on my ceiling, and I'm freaking out here.
Kill it.
I can't reach it. I'm short. Oh my gosh, it's just attacked a fly. Oh gosh. Okay, so that set the scary scene. I actually have two different plot summaries. A really short one that's one sentence, or one that's like a paragraph. Which would you prefer?
Oh, let's have the big one, please.
Okay, so we see Shaggy and Scooby walking home from a pizzeria when a car rolls by and hits a bump, causing a violin case to fall out of the back window. First of all, can I just say I play violin, and I'm so mad that they were that irresponsible with a violin case. So Shaggy, being the curious little guy he is, picks up the case and discovers it's full of money. Now, of course, he goes to call the gang, leaving Scooby to guard the case.
Cash money.
The same car drives over near Scooby whilst he's all alone, and suddenly a poodle is whining and attracts Scooby's attention. This leads, there's a gang come along, the violin case is missing, and the poodle's taken, which, would break Scooby's heart, obviously. So Scooby's there explaining the situation in his classic way. And they head over to an abandoned theatre where they end up facing the spooky Phantom and his puppets, all connected to a counterfeit operation. Now, could this be the start of us seeing the cartel and mafia in Scooby Doo? No, because it's a kids' show, but that would have been so cool, wouldn't it?
I mean, I'd say the cartel and the mafia were quite kid-friendly. I enjoy it.
You certainly are not JayBee.
Me? What, I'm not kid-friendly?
No.
No, I am kid-friendly, trust me. I like that plot summary, thank you so much. And I'll be honest, this backstage rage business isn't something that I usually dabble in. What?
Can I ask, does the... I may be remembering the episode wrong, but does the dog that Scooby likes remind you of the one from the Dog Napper episode?
I think
Yes.
no. They're both small, but I think that one's meant to be like goofily red or pink.
No, not that one. The one with the posh lady.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
The Dog Napper one. That I always get these two episodes mixed up, just like how like with the Bedlam in the Big Top and with Charlie. Those two also confuse me sometimes. So
I also get this one mixed up with the Scooby Doo episode where Scooby Doo's like an actress and then there's a fake Scooby Doo.
I love Scooby Doo. Oh, I want a dog called Scooby Doo.
We should get one. You should call Tatty Scooby Doo. That's what we should do. We should rebrand.
Tatty's elite. She was okay, fun little side story. Tatty, her original name was going to be Lovey.
Lovey.
Yeah, because I was like 10, 11.
Sounds like a
And I
Waka
saw-
Waka film star.
She has a heart on her side, and I was like, oh, let's call her Lovey. And, everyone in my family was like, We are not going into the field and yelling, "Come here, lovey," because we'll have a whole load of random women run up.
What about cardiac?
Cardiac. Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. That made my heart skip a beat.
Oh. Oh. My
It's a bit of a
heart
heart
skips beats.
stopper.
It is a heart stopper. What else? No, let me think. Let me think of other ones. Pump. Heart pump.
So does JayBee.
Red blood cells.
I won't let it break your heart.
No, don't. Wait. What about last Christmas? I gave you my heart, and the very next day you gave it away. If you're listening to this for the first time, we do go on many mad tangents. However, getting back on topic, I guess we're gonna pick it up with the poodle, right? Once again, Scooby is showing quite the love of smaller dogs. So I think maybe Scooby's he's a dominant dog. I can't lie. He's a dirty dominant dog.
I knew you'd defend this because I was just thinking that this would happen with you if you were left to protect something and Daphne was on the opposite side of the road.
What do you mean? What, a puppet Daphne though?
Only Daphne.
A puppet named Scooby Doo Daphne?
Yeah.
I'd have doubts. I'd have doubts on that. Unless I am a kid myself. If it's like a kind of smash or pass kids incident, then yeah, I could see that happening. But then it would have to be a thing where I have to insult her and pull her hair and spit chewing gum at her. You know, like how kids flirt with each other. So I don't think it would be quite what I'm wanting. But never say never. Never say never. We'd have a puppet of that Dade Elsa, eh? Yeah, you could do it. And I think
Oh my god.
Just continue on, JayBee.
we will. So there's counterfeit money. Does anyone have any? I don't know if anyone has.
I don't know. This is kind of like, what's the first thing you get opinions on here, right?
Yeah, there's not really anything. I suppose then.
For me, it's kind of like just almost what happens in the episode until they go and meet the puppet handler.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So I guess as Rhianna said in the summary at the start, like this episode, Shaggy and Scooby are getting pizza. And a car goes past and a violin case falls out full of counterfeit money. So Scooby is left in charge of it. Shaggy goes to get the rest of the gang, and Scooby's, like we say, distracted by the little poodle. At which point, you know, the silhouette gets to pick up the violin case, take it away with them before Shaggy and the rest of the gang get there. So all they find in terms of clues and leads is a little puppet handle with a name on it. So they go and find the puppet handler, and they come across as very creepy. That's my initial thoughts. I mean, smASH, what's your initial thoughts on that character?
This whole episode, because I've always... Now, this stems from a few things. First of all, I've always loved creepy things, but there's just like so much that I could handle. But one thing that when I was younger, would always just enjoy, even though it scared me so bad, was the Goosebumps books and the TV series. And if anybody knows Goosebumps, then Slappy, the stupid ventriloquist dummy from that series, terrifies me still to this day. He's creepy. And so I've always had a thing with puppets. But the other thing, though, is I have an aunt. Wow, what was that? Aunt? Anyway. She's since passed, but she used to get these, like, baby dolls, like, I don't know exactly what they'd be considered, but it's like those baby dolls that, like the ones that like kids would play with. But she'd get them, and then she would get like donated hair and put real people's hair inside the dolls.
Yeah.
And like we have some of them in our house right now and stuff, and they creep me out so bad. I'm like, that's kind of disgusting in my opinion, but whatever. Anyway, so back on track. This whole concept of dummies and dolls and ventriloquist stuff instantly, just I'm like, you've set me off immediately as soon as I find out about this. And so when he was like, oh yeah, let me give you a show and whatever, when the gang was meeting him for the first time, I was like, nope, I do not trust him. He is going to be the bad guy. I don't care what anybody has to say. If he knows ventriloquist, whatever that's called, ventriloquism, immediate red flag. Run for the hills. He's gonna turn you into a dummy. You're gonna be next. All those freaking puppets that we see in this episode, I'm sure were real people that he turned into dummies. There's my conspiracy theory.
I mean, that's a fair
And we
conspiracy
spoke
theory
about
to
those
have.
dolls, actually. I remember at the start of the Batman, I think it was the Batman Scooby Doo movie.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, I like that though. I think Daphne should get a baby doll.
Oh, for goodness sake, JayBee.
You know, there's
Oh my
dolls that you
God.
can get with like real eye, not real eyes,
Glass eyes.
glass eyes. And I knew some kid that he went a bit mad. He was worried that his grandma was gonna get hurt by the glass, so he went round her house one day and ripped all the eyes out. That's my story.
So one thing that I found about this character is their silhouette is very distinctive as the one that was in the car. They have a very distinct nose and chin.
Mad nose.
Rhianna, what's your opinion on this character?
So, I really like this character. He's creepy. But one little fun fact, Frank Welker voiced the girl puppet poodle dog in this episode. So he was voicing dogs even back in the day. But the puppet handler guy, he's got his name is the same as Wanda's brother in Marvel, Pietro. I want to say. I always butcher his name.
Oh, I was thinking
Oh,
of the
yeah.
clown from Animal Crossing.
But the whole thing about puppets, kind of, I'm okay with them somewhat. It's definitely like to jump off of like Ash's thing with dolls and creepy dolls. Oh my gosh, get away from me! No.
Bonkers.
JayBee!
What? I think this is mad things going on.
What do you think of the
No, I don't want to talk about it because it always reminds me of Slappy from Goosebumps. Like
See?
Night of the Living Doll. I can't deal with it. Traumatizes me. And Slappy's not happy.
I'm sorry, I asked JayBee what their opinion was just so you could sort out what I'm guessing was your spider situation.
Started abseiling down above me, and
You
it
should
touched my
watch-
arm, and I didn't like it.
You should watch Eight-Legged Freaks. It
No!
features a fresh
Oh,
off the legal line Scarlett Johansson, for those that care to view such a thing. Which I think I'm possibly the only one in the call that would care to see. I'm talking to myself. I'm sad. I'm sad. There's also that guy from Scream. That's what I'll say.
Scream, time for you to die.
So these dolls are crazy. I mean, your sister Milly collects dolls, and they're the creepiest things. Not even like nice dolls.
But
'cause
she doesn't
nowadays...
anymore. Once she had kids, she figured out that they'd just break them. So
No, but now you can get cute little dolls with like little like baby grows on. Whereas
But
back in the
dolls are
day, they
never
were
cute, they
they had
scare
those
me.
bonnet things. They looked like they wanted to rip your heart out. They had claws, like
Gosh,
and,
that's
I feel like once you've seen Annabelle, there's no going back.
well, it's BS because the older generation will go, you kids with your TikToks and your newfangled gram. Oh, that gives you so many creepy ideas. It warps your perception of reality. And it's like, did you see what you people used to play with? You
True.
don't tell
Those
me.
things were possessed.
It's just it's not fair. I don't like it. Oh, it's Rhianna.
there. Hi. So there was where I was going like with the creepy doll thing. First of all, Slappy terrifies me. I've watched the first Goosebumps movie, I refused to watch anything else because I was traumatized after
Ooh,
that.
you should watch the second one. He's even better in the second one.
Oh
Kid from
no,
It's in the
no,
second one.
don't. I
I
don't do horror.
I love him in the even though he terrifies me. I love him in the second one because he like there's a point when he's like running and you're like, no, don't show me a dummy that runs.
Oh no, but actually those movies are slept on because everyone assumed that
They
they were going to
are.
be awful. The trailers were fun, but when everyone just came out, everyone just assumed that they were what they were, just silly kids movies, right? But they're actually banging. The first one especially, the soundtrack of that movie. Oh
Mhm.
my god. We need an Academy nominee. That's
And
you
I
know
am upset
it's a
because they're
movie.
so slept on. Where's my third movie? You left off on a cliffhanger, and there's been no talks of like, oh yeah, we're gonna do another movie. No, now they're doing a Disney Plus series, and I'm like, unless it connects to those movies, I don't want it.
We just need like Jack Black in a recording, even maybe an animated one. Because Jack Black does good animation. He could do
True.
something like that. But they just scare me. So if you're listening to this, go
Anyway.
watch those movies because they're amazing. And don't
Give them the
participate in the
love they need.
purchase of dolls. Because I'm telling you, the only doll I would even be interested in coming alive is the Daphne Barbie doll. And I think I would scare that by the end of it more than it could scare me. I think it would be traumatized.
Right, moving on. So, yeah, they've gone back to see the creepy puppet man, and Shaggy finds some dollars that he thinks are counterfeit, but once they leave, they realise they are not. They decide that it's kind of like he's planted real money there to throw them off the scent, but ultimately they've just stolen like $20 from this guy.
What's the purpose on counterfeiting dollars anyway?
What?
What's the purpose of making these dollars?
Well, the purpose is like, in theory, that they're getting money that they've not earned.
But it's not real.
No, but they tried to make it convincing so they can use it.
But isn't there a thing where if you just hold it up to the sun, you can tell?
Yes, but I think like that's kind of more evolved.
Ah, that makes
Yeah,
sense. That makes
Yeah.
But
sense.
you can now get like the
For-
pens that you can check with, and there's UV lights that show up numbers in the thing.
Because like I've worked in retail for 8 years now, and like there's certain bills that we have to check. If it's like basically if it's 50 or more, we have to like have them like checked and whatever. And yeah, they've made it a lot easier nowadays because like there's grooves on the suits of the presidents or whoever is on the bills. I never know who's on what. That you can feel the grooves. There's a strip too now on all the bills that you don't need to hold up to see. You can just see it and feel it. But there is also the thing that you hold it up to a light and you can see a face appears when you do that. But with the older bills, and especially now where they've been like worn and torn and stuff, it's harder to see and it's harder to make out if it's authentic because people can and have figured out how to mimic that and like make it so a face appears when you hold it up to the light, but you have to like see, is it actually authentic or did someone hand draw that? So it's it was harder back in the day to really tell, but nowadays it's like no, you can straight up tell, and it's like if someone really tries today, they've got to put in a lot of work because it's not that easy to fake it now.
Oh god. That seems a bit hectic. I just thought it was the light.
Also,
That's mad. And the
I want to
president.
just say, never ever go to a store and like purchase something with like $100 bill. And even if you're doing it as a joke, I don't care. Do not say to the cashier as a joke, "Oh, haha, I just printed this," or whatever. Like, okay, that's gonna make me suspicious of you, Slim Shady. Like,
Oh yeah, like some things are like no joke,
Sometimes
especially
dad jokes aren't good.
no, well,
Because
especially
my dad said that joke before.
really.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, okay, no. To be fair, I don't see the point in saying it unless like you are a dad, because dads can just say cringy stuff, right? But
true.
But like, because it's not going to be funny, right? Like, unless maybe they're trying to flirt with the cashier and they're running out of banter.
I imagine that would be like your dad's attempt at flirting.
I would imagine so. But like, I would say that it's not detrimental to joke about many things, apart from if you're in an airport. Because joking in an airport is not fun.
No, you used to joke in airports to try and scare people and to get your parents in trouble, like, we're gonna crash, the plane's gonna go down, just to like try and cause trouble.
Or I pull out the Indian accent and see if it makes me more likely to get pulled over by security. No, sorry, it's just concealed because it's vintage. Nothing to worry about, sir. And it's fun though. We have fun with it.
Moving on, JayBee. So they go back to see the creepy puppet man again, but they've fallen asleep with their little dummy. So they decide to split up and look for clues. And in doing this, they first see the villain wearing the outfit.
Pretty saucy, if you ask me.
I mean, it's better than the minor outfit where it was obviously just the same person. Like they at least put a little bit more effort in with this one.
This villain's kind of disgusting. Like, I think if it wasn't for all the other interesting characters that they pull out of their puppetry, I think it would come across as bland. And is this villain ever given a name? Because I just call him the Puppet Master.
I think it is just the Puppet Master.
Well, I'm not the biggest fan of this. I think it's my least favourite villain so far.
We see Shaggy and Scooby do a little dress-up sequence, which is always fun.
Yes, and all of those and Myers are valid Funko Soda chases as well. Dude, oh god.
Ooh, you know that new Multiverses game? They should like add those costumes as like options for skins in the game.
Oh, I'm boycotting that game because it doesn't have Daphne. I'm gonna check on the
Daphne
day of
is
release.
gonna come. Don't you worry,
actually?
Daphne. Like
Daphne in that game, I can program her in myself.
No.
I tell you that now for free.
They found her name in the files of the game, so she's bound to come eventually.
Well, that's very good news. I'll keep an eye out.
JayBee, stop it.
What?
Okay, so they find lots of empty violin cases in the prompters box under the stage. And there's a sequence with lots of like puppets and stuff. And Scooby chases after the dog because the little poodle's there again.
I've got low self-esteem.
And when they bring it back, they find that it is stuffed with counterfeit money.
Oh yeah, it's like the template, right? Like not
Yeah.
the stencil, but like the mold, I guess.
So they then kind of feel like they've got the evidence they need. They go to leave, but the door's locked and the puppet master is now themselves a puppet. So they go back to the violin room to look for evidence. Behind the harp case, they find the printing press for counterfeit money.
And I think Daphne finds it, right? Daphne points out that it's the harp case.
Possibly.
So, huge point for Team Daphne there.
They then end up going down a passageway and they have to climb up a ladder that leads to the stage. And at which point we see Scooby being really brave, and that's kind of what I enjoy about Scooby in this series more than in recent series, is they just kind of seem to have reached their limit with stuff and they're like, okay, I'm gonna go get them, and just throw themselves up to the kind of platform above the stage and chase them down.
I like it a lot. And I think you pointed this out, Millie. So I guess we're going to ask everyone's opinion on this point in particular. As like almost our final point, our closing point. But what does everyone think about the fact that we didn't really get an official unmasking
No,
in
you
this
just
episode?
see Scooby catch them and then they're in the police car.
Yeah, so I guess starting with Smash, I mean, is an unmasking an essential part of a Scooby episode?
I don't think it's like has to be done necessarily. I think what disappoints me is that we've now had an episode back to back without an unmasking. With Charlie in the last episode and now this one. So I almost feel like without an unmasking, they're almost a little anticlimactic. Like you have to do it right. I think one of the best examples of, now there was technically like still an unmasking, but it happened in like a non-unmasking way, was the Never Ape an Ape Man episode where you saw who it was before they necessarily unmask it. I was like, that's like a creative way of doing a non-unmasking type thing. So I think it just has to be done in the right way where, so like I feel like this was kind of, I mean, it did although have the sequence that creeps me out so bad where they go try to wake up the dude and his head comes off and they're like, he's a... So, I mean, there's that, but I feel like this was kind of anticlimactic a bit.
Ooh, I like that. And what about Rhianna?
Oh, sorry. I really like. I kind of like it and kind of not, because this whole episode reminds me so much of the Phantom of the Opera. So we never. It's got such a good score. The Phantom. Oh my gosh, I want to watch that tonight. But it's kind of like, I feel like it fits because it's what's real and what isn't is really playing a part in this. And one thing that I really did like in this episode as well was that it's the first time that we saw Daphne and Velma alone when the gang split up. So we're starting to see that they can trust the others off. You don't need the classic, okay, Daphne, Fred, and Velma, Shaggy and Scooby. I mean, in the first episode we saw Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby, but it's shaking it up a little bit and growth for the characters as well. So yeah, I mean, even though it was not really an unmasking, it was quite cool to see that it was an unintentional, Shaggy and Scooby just did something instinctive and the guy was caught kind of thing. So it also felt like a real, okay, we're a legit Mystery Incorporated. We're figuring out who the real bad people in the world are and solving mysteries.
I like that. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. And I think you've kind of said your piece, haven't you, about it, really? Or have you got more to contribute to?
No, I wanted there to be an unmask. Wasn't it? Almost felt like there was a deleted scene in the film.
Maybe Scooby was trying to advocate the hashtag wear a mask movement. Who knows? Maybe it was.
It just felt like the scene was cut a little bit.
It does. Maybe they ran out of time. I guess that may be it. The animators just possibly ran out of time, or maybe they even run out of. Oh God, I'm probably dating it much, but cell paper, right? Maybe for week. I don't know.
In theory, the bit where they find the real money and leave and come back could have been edited out if they were running out of time.
True.
That wasn't a big thing.
Who knows how much money that costs versus the budget of the show? But I don't know. But anyway, I guess it's time for the verdicts.
Indeed it is. So JayBee, you first, as always. Smash or pass?
Oh God. We've kind of changed the bar between what is a smash and what's a pass for this, because to sit for a movie you have to be dedicated to it. You have to enjoy something for an hour and a bit, right? And so a pass is, I could not sit through this again, or I don't want to sit through this again. Whereas a smash is, oh yeah, this movie is great, I'll sit there for an hour and watch it and have fun with it. Whereas for an episode, it's just, because I don't think there's an episode that can be so bad that you can pass it, because it's, at the end of the day, just 20 minutes, right? I don't know, maybe that's just me. And so for me, a pass is just, it's uninteresting, it doesn't stand out from any of the other episodes, I can take it or leave it. And so I think I need to pass this one just because I didn't like the villain. I didn't really like the kind of scheme behind it. The only thing that I do love is how they drew and designed the stage. That was gorgeous. Other than that, I'd pass this one. What about Millie?
Honestly, I've not made my decision on this one because there's a lot of elements I enjoy, but it certainly is far from my favourite. But it's also not the worst one we've watched so far. For me, that was the minor episode.
Same.
I mean, the villain in the minor episode was just so bad. There was.
It was boring.
I'm saying this again just because Smash wasn't here for the episode, but there's one scene where Shaggy sees them stood in the doorway and they don't act scared. They wait a second and then it's like, oh, wait a minute. This person looks like they could be a minor. isn't a ghost a miner? Ah! You physically have to wait for that thought process. Normally, they scream within an instant.
So
But how
right.
was it that Sea Ernst Half was a better miner than the original series?
Oh, well, they very much were.
Nah.
So it's certainly not as bad as that. I would watch it again, but it's off the back of the last episode. I definitely want to go back to the Funland one. So I'm going to say this is a pass as well. I think it'd just be, oh yeah, it follows on from the episode with Charlie. Then, oh yeah, this is the episode with the Puppet Master. So I guess it, like you say, it's only on if you're watching the series in itself as opposed to the episode exclusively. Yeah, it's a pass. I'm sorry, I'm just watching JayBee's face. He seems to be thinking.
No, I'm excited. I enjoy that a lot because I guess in context, it's like, yeah, after the Charlie episode, they maybe had to try and like, because it's coming towards the end of season 1, I think, potentially.
I think we're about halfway.
Season 1?
Yeah.
No, that's
I think there
crossing
was
the bridge.
17 episodes from what.
I think there should be more episodes.
Okay, so moving on to Rhianna. For you, is the Backstage Rage a smash or pass?
Okay, so first I want to quickly touch on something that I started before the spider attacked me. There's an episode of Supernatural called Playthings, and it's season 2, episode 11. And there's really creepy dolls, puppets that have been like possessed, basically. And in that episode as well, Dean says, old school haunted houses, you know, frog, a secret passageway, might even run into Fred and Daphne while we're inside. Daphne, I love her. So that made me think of this episode quite a lot. And then so I think I mentioned this before. There's 4 episodes of Scooby Doo, Where Are You? That in 1998 were selected for the VHS Scooby Doo's Greatest Mysteries, and it was voted by fans. And this was actually one of the episodes that was one of the favorites. I really enjoy this episode, and I think I can't actually think off the top of my head an episode that I don't like. So for me, it's a smash because I really enjoy the references, and also the Phantom of the Opera thing. I really enjoy it. So even though it's not the best villain we've had, it definitely isn't the worst. And I think for me, it's a smash.
Ah, very nice, Rhianna. Thank you so much. And Smash, would you smash or pass the Backstage Rage?
So I agree. This one I get confused with at least the beginning parts of the decoy for a dog napper. I confuse these two. And while I am like scared and creeped out by like the dummies and dolls and puppets and stuff, I unfortunately just feel like this episode like gets boring really fast. There's just like spurts where I'm like, ooh, this is creepy. But then everything in between I'm like, meh. And like I like the villain's face. Like when we actually see the mask of it and stuff, I'm like, ooh, that's cool, that's creepy or whatever. But like otherwise we really don't see him. He's just running around, you know, whatever. And I mean, we've already reviewed the movie, but I think a better version of this is Scooby-Doo Stage Fright. That's one of my favorite Scooby movies. But so I don't know. This episode creeps me out at times, but it's like not enough for me to really go back to it. It definitely is an episode that most of the time I just skip or don't think about or remember. So I'm passing this one.
Ooh, and I agree. And it's kind of mad thinking about the kind of spooky ambience of this series in general. When you think in context, they made literally an old-fashioned diver scarier than the creepy dolls, which should be scary anyway. Kind of seems like a bit of a missed opportunity. And it is a shame. But I guess next time we'll be reviewing Bedlam in the Big Top, which, if I'm not mistaken,
Yay!
that may be my favourite episode
The clown
of
one.
this initial series. being both a Pennywise fan and a Daphne fan, and a huge lover of circuses, I think it's gonna be my
Daphne can't
my
even ride a
episode.
bicycle.
Oh, I'd be her bicycle. Wait, that sounds weird. So, if you do want to listen to more of smASH's sexy voice, his channel link is in the description down below. If you want to see what Rhianna's gorgeous face looks like, her gram is also in the description. And our link tree where you can see all of our shenanigans and BS is there as well. Check that out as well. There's some cool stuff there. And the Instagram is amazing. Check out the Instagram, the Tik Tok, even though I've not done anything on there for years and years and years. Just check it all out because it is amazing. And if you do want to hear more of these amazing reviews, we are hoping to review every single episode of Scooby Doo, Where Are You? Then please like, comment, and subscribe to JayBee and Milly. And we'll see you next time. Happy something.